look at is we're going to look at how to graph a set of data. Now, for your activity today, you have been given this set of data here. All right? In order to graph this, there's a few different steps that you have to take. All right? First thing is you're going to have to open up Excel. All right? Now, this is going to look a little different on the iPad than it will on the computer, so bear with me here. The basic steps are all the same. All right? The layout is a little different, as I said, for Excel versus the computer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this to the side here so I can walk you through how to make your graph. Now today our goal is to essentially recreate the graph that I have, recreate the graph for this data. So what you're going to do is the first thing you're going to do is you're going to highlight the data. All right, right click, you're going to hit copy. Then you're going to come over to your Excel. You're going to click on the first box and you're going to go ahead and drop in your data. The graph we're making today is going to look at two things. It's going to look at average versus temperature. All right? As with all data, you do multiple trials, right? You collect many, many different samples and then you take an average of those samples. That average is what you're actually going to graph, okay? Now, because we do not want to graph the trials, what we're going to do is I'm going to copy and paste my average and my temperature down below, okay? Because all I want to do is I want to graph the average, runner speed, and the temperature along with it. Now, I've put the average first and the temperature second because in Excel, when you make a graph, all right, our average here is our dependent variable. It's the variable that we are measuring, okay? And our temperature is our independent variable. So what that means is that temperature must be on the y-axis and this must be on the x-axis of your graph. All right? Now what you're going to do is go ahead, highlight both the average speed and the temperature. Then you want to go up to the top, hit Insert, and you want to go to the graph section. And you want to hit the one that looks like it has a bunch of little dots. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a scatter graph. For science, especially for physics right now, scatter graph is the only kind of graph you guys are going to make at this point in time. So go ahead and click on the scatter, and this is what you're going to get. All right, basic view. Now, I'm going to go ahead and scroll this up so you guys have the viewpoint of what needs to be included on our perfect graph. This one right here is the one that we are recreating. Right? So once you get the basic graph in here, you need to make sure that your axes line up. So if I look at my horizontal, all right, my x-axis, I see 2.3, 2.35, 2.4. Those numbers appear to line up with my dependent variable, the average speed. So that's good because I want that on the x. Then I look over here, 0 through 90. All right, that appears to line up with my y-axis. Again, super good. Now, when you are in the chart, okay, I want you to keep a lookup on this bar at the very top, okay? When I hit out of the chart, that bar disappears. When I go back into the chart, all right, double click on it, format chart area, all right, or you can hit here and, nope, you want to double click. Okay. Now you've got two ways you can do this. You select your chart, you go up to the top, and you can hit Add Chart Element. Here you can add titles, you can add labels, you can do error bars, you can do a whole bunch of different things. It also has this option for quick layout. And what we're going to use right now is we're going to go ahead and use quick layout because it will make your life so much easier. It cannot always be used for everything, as you'll learn when you get into grade 11 and 12, but for right now, quick layout is our friend. All right, and you're going to want to scroll down till you get to the one that has the FX. Okay, layout number 9 has your FX. Then you're going to click it. Boom! Your chart is made for you. All right, and it has all of the factors that you need over here in the purple. You need a chart title at the top. All right, you need axis labels for your Y and your X. Okay, and you need a trend line along with the equation that goes with it. All right, your R squared value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a title. Impact of temperature on, marathon speed for women. All right, so this is the descriptive title. Then I'm going to go over here to my axes. All right, my y-axis is my temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and put temperature, and I'm going to include the unit. Because the data was collected from the US, all right, our units are going to be in Fahrenheit. Then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to add my x-axis title, which is average speed of the runners, and it's in meters per second. Okay, you always, 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 always and forever must use units. You have to include your units in there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move the equation off to the side. Now, as you see here, our equation has our R squared value. Our R squared value is going to determine our correlation. And our correlation can either be strong, moderate, or weak. In this case, we have an R squared value of 0.57, so that is going to be a moderate correlation, which means that the temperature and the average speed of the runners do not strongly relate to each other, but they do relate to each other. Okay? Our trend line, as you can see here, is moving downwards. All right, so it's decreasing in the negative direction. Okay? Now, what we're going to do, we have our title, boom, we have our trend line, we have our R squared, dependent variable, independent variable. All right, we are good, we are happy, we made our first graph. Now what you're going to do is you're going to copy your graph, and then you're going to come back into ManageBack and you're going to find this. All right, the document that is going to be your final result. This is your formative answer sheet. In the first column, you're going to go ahead and you're going to paste a photo of your graph. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to come down and you're going to take a look at this and you're going to go ahead and you're going to answer these questions. These questions are going to help you get used to interpreting what your graph is telling you. Okay? So if we take a look at this, for instance, the first one, what does the R squared value tell us about the correlation? Our R squared is 0.57. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to highlight moderate, and then I'm going to say, I know this because the number is 0.5728. All right, simple, straightforward, okay? You always have to be able to back up every statement you make, okay? Then what I want you guys to do is I want you to go ahead, answer these questions. Is it increasing or decreasing? Is the trend positive or negative? All right, so in other words, as the temperature increases, what happens to the runner speed? Okay, and then the last one, write a statement that describes the graph and utilize what you know about the correlation and the trend line to format your statement. So here is where you're going to summarize everything you've done in 1, 2, and 3. You're going to make a statement that explains the trend of your graph. What is the correlation? What is the relationship? What is an example? Etc., etc. All right? And if you want to check, just so you guys can get used to seeing the rubric, all right, right now we are working on criteria C, 1 and 2 strands, all right? And then you've got your detailed descriptions over here. Okay, so this just gives you an idea of what we're working towards. All right, now good luck making your graph. This is the page you're going to submit into ManageBag.